Since it's been 2 years since we lost Paul Reubens, aka the zany Pee-wee Herman, well, I am going to say it would be a pleasure to bring him in his memory this film, which celebrates its 40th anniversary this year. Yes, can you believe it's been 4 years since it came out? You better believe it. Strap yourselves in. Here's my review of Pee-wee's Big Adventure. This is Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. Huh? So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Noel, better known to as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 1985 adventure comedy flick Pee-wee's Big Adventure, released by Warner Brothers, directed by Tim Burton in his feature film directing debut, starring the late great Paul Reubens as the titular character of Pee-wee Herman, who he was credited as that, along with Elizabeth Daily, you know her best as E.G. Daily, Mark Holton, Diane Salinger, and Judd Omen. The screenplay was written by Reubens along with Phil Hartman and Michael Varhol, and tells the story of the zany Pee-wee Herman and his search for a stolen bicycle, and has been compared to the 1948 Italian film Bicycle Thieves. The film was released on August 9th, 1985. So I'm celebrating its 40th anniversary just a day early because the weekend is booked. It went on to be a pretty decent success and will become a cult classic. It came out after the success of the Pee Wee Herman show in '81. Well, Reubens was hired by Warner Brothers and began writing the script for this. Impressed with Burton's work on his short film Frankenweenie the previous year, the producers and Reubens hired him to direct. The filming took place in California and Texas and was scored by Danny Elfman, marking his first among many collaborations with Mr. Burton. Okay, but I'm getting too far ahead of myself. Let's get into the story. Pee-wee Herman, a childlike man in a gray suit with a red bow tie, has a cherished, heavily accessorized bicycle. His neighbor and enemy, Francis Buxton, wants the bicycle and offers to buy it. Pee-wee refuses as he rides off. Francis warns him he'll be sorry for turning down his offer. Dottie is an employee at the local bike shop who has a crush on Pee-wee, but he does not reciprocate. As Pee-wee goes on a shopping spree, his bike is stolen, but the police are not overly concerned with the theft. Pee-wee assumes Francis took it and confronts him, but his father convinces Pee-wee that Francis was not responsible. So Pee-wee offers a $10,000 reward for the bike. Francis, who did indeed pay to have someone steal the bike, is disturbed by Pee-wee's relentlessness and pays to have the bike sent away. That evening, Pee-wee holds an unsuccessful evidentiary meeting of friends and neighbors to find the bike and rejects Dottie's offer of help. He then visits a phony psychic who misleads Pee-wee into believing his bicycle is in the basement of the Alamo Mission in San Antonio. In haste, he leaves his wallet behind. Pee-wee hitchhikes to Texas, getting rides from a fugitive convict named Mickey and from Large Marge, the ghost of a truck driver. At a truck stop, Pee-wee finds his wallet is missing and pays for his meal by washing dishes. He befriends Simone, a waitress who dreams of visiting Paris. As they watch the sun rise from within a roadside dinosaur statue, he encourages her to follow her dreams. But Simone tells him about her boyfriend Andy, who disapproves. Andy appears and tries to attack Pee-wee, who escapes onto a moving train. Pee-wee arrives at the Alamo, but learns at the end of a guided tour that the building does not have a basement. At a bus station, Pee-wee encounters Simone, who tells him she broke up with Andy and is on her way to Paris. She tells Pee-wee not to give up searching for his bike. Pee-wee calls Dottie and apologizes for his behavior. Andy spots Pee-wee and resumes chasing him. Pee-wee evades Andy at a rodeo by disguising himself as a bull rider. He is forced to ride a bull and gets knocked out before the bull pursues Andy, and he visits a biker bar to make a phone call, and a biker gang threatens to kill him after he accidentally knocks over their motorcycles. He wins them over by dancing to the song Tequila and a pair of platform shoes, and they give him a motorcycle for his journey, which he crashes immediately. All right, now for the final act in the ending. You know the procedure for this. You have 5 seconds to stop this video at once. Go to the description box below and fast forward to the time below as I start counting down now. If you've seen this movie already, please continue. Okay, you've been warned. He awakens in a hospital and sees on television that his bike is being used as a prop in a film. Pee-wee sneaks into Warner Bros. Studios in Burbank and grabs the bike. Security guards chase him across the studio lot and through several active sets before he escapes. Pee-wee then discovers a burning pet shop and rescues the animals. The firefighters declare Pee-wee a hero, but the police arrest Pee-wee for his intrusion at the studio. They return Pee-wee to the studio to face Warner Bros. President Terry Hawthorne. After Pee-wee pleads his case that the bike belongs to him, Hawthorne decides to drop the charges and return Pee-wee's bike in exchange for the rights to adapt his story into a film starring James Brolin as P.W. Herman and Morgan Fairchild as Dottie. In the film, presented as a James Bond parody, the characters must retrieve their stolen motorbike, which contains an important microfilm from the Soviets. Pee-wee has a cameo role as a hotel bellhop, though his voice has been dubbed. Seeing the film at a drive-in theater, Pee-wee gives refreshments to the different people he met along his journey. He also encounters Francis, who tells reporters that he taught Pee-wee how to ride. Francis claims to be knowledgeable about Pee-wee's bike, but sets off one of the bicycle's gadgets, catapulting himself into the air. Ultimately, Pee-wee decides to depart with Dottie, claiming to have already lived the adventure on screen. End of story. So, what did I think of Pee-wee's Big Adventure? I'm going to say I like this film. It is very fun and insanely crazy. I've got to say, it is a fun film. I have seen it a few times. It's been some time since I last saw it, but I do have memories of it, though. Anyway, upon its release, it went on to make 40 million here in the U.S. on its 70 on its not 70. Let me reverse that. It made 40 million in the U.S. domestically on its $7 million budget. Sorry, my mistake. Anyway, it has become a cult film and continued to accumulate positive feedback. It was nominated for a Young Artist Award and was followed by 2 standalone sequels: Big Top Pee-wee, which came out 3 years later by Paramount, and Pee-wee's Big Holiday on Netflix in 2016. Its financial success, followed by Burton's equally successful Beetlejuice in 1988, prompted Warner Bros. To hire Burton to direct Batman the following year in 1989. The film sits at 78% on Rotten Tomatoes, saying this film brings Paul Reubens' famous character to the big screen intact, along with enough inspired silliness to dazzle children of all ages. And Metacritic has a score of 47. Now, of course, after this, Reubens would later go on to have his big hit show Pee-wee's Playhouse on CBS Saturday mornings. In the LA Times, Michael Wilmington wrote, "The wrong crowd will find these antics infantile and offensive. The right one will have a howling good time." Newsweek described the film as Mattel's surrealism, a Toy Story Fantasia in primary colors and 50s decor. Whoever proposed teaming up with Pee-wee, aka Paul Reubens, with 26-year-old director Tim Burton knew what they were doing. Together, they've conspired to make a true original, a live-action cartoon brash enough to appeal to little kids, yet so knee-deep in irony that its faux naivety looks as chic as the latest retro fashions. Variety compared Reubens to Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton. Roger Ebert then reviewed the film upon its original release in the Chicago Sun-Times. However, 2 years later, the film topped his guilty pleasures lists, saying he was impressed by how innocent, how playful, and how truly eccentric the film was, and how the film created a whole fairy tale universe comparable to Alice in Wonderland or The Lord of the Rings. Ebert also mentioned the film in his review of Big Top Pee-wee, explaining how moving away from the zany weirdness of the first Pee-wee Herman film led to a sequel that was not as magical. But a more negative assessment came from Gene Siskel in the Chicago Tribune, who gave us a rare zero review, writing that he had enjoyed Herman's guest spots on Late Night with David Letterman, but obviously Pee-wee is tolerable only in Pee-wee doses. You have to be a lot funnier on the screen than on the tube to sustain a feature-length story. Siskel included the film in his unranked year-end list of the worst movies of '85. The New York Times was also negative, writing that apart from a few scenes, it was the most barren comedy I've seen in years, maybe ever. But anyway, nevertheless, the film proved to be successful, including which released on home video. The soundtrack score was composed by Danny Elfman, his first of many collabs on Tim Burton's work. I'd say he's got what it takes. He's a great composer and still is to this day. And has some pretty good music, as you might know. For the cast, we have, well, Paul Reubens as Pee-wee Herman himself, just as funny as you know of. Playing Dottie is Elizabeth Daily, who you may know best as E.G. Daily, who, of course, was also a singer. This was one of her big films, well, early films. Of course, later on, she did the dubbing voice for Froggy and the Little Rascals and Bam Bam in the Little and the Flintstones. Excuse me, I got tongue tied. But of course, for Flintstones, she was uncredited. She was also well known for voice. She would later go on to voice Tommy Pickles in Rugrats, as well as, well, Rick, Alex, and Binky in later seasons in the later season of Camp Candy, as well as Wendy Elizabeth on Eat the Cat, and let's see, and to numerous other cartoons, including Duckman, What a Mess, and of course Buttercup in the Powerpuff Girls, the original series, that is. Anywho, she just does a good job. Playing Francis is Mark Holton, who a few years later, he was well known for, he would soon be playing Chubby in the Teen Wolf film series, and after that he played Ozzy Jones in the cult classic horror comedy Leprechaun, and then later Leprechaun Returns. Yeah, and Simone is played by Diane Salinger, who does a pretty good job. Of course, she's best known, she later became famous for appearing on the short-lived HBO drama Carnival. And Judd Omen plays Mickey Morelli, an escaped convict who claims he was incarcerated for cutting a tag off a mattress. But there's a host of others and what have you, but there's so many to mention. But anyway, so including some people who actually would work with him, including Phil Hartman and John Paragon, who actually did the voice of Terry on Pee-wee's Playhouse. He was also John B. And then, of course, the late Lynn Marie Stewart, whom we sadly lost earlier this year, in February this year. Of course, she would be well known to Pee-wee's Playhouse viewers as Missy Vaughn. So you got to admit the cast is pretty good. There's a host of others in this. But anyway, Pee-wee's Big Adventure is such a fun-filled flick, and it's got the great set of laughs and has great characters and a fun score from Danny Elfman. So with everything said, this is a fun flick. So when I recommend Pee-wee's Playhouse, I would say yes, go for it. So what did you think of Pee-wee's Big Adventure? Let me know in the comments section below. Said the wrong thing. Yeah, so yeah, check out Pee-wee's Big Adventure. What did you think of it? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Continue to help support my channel, and you know the rest. Join me next time for my next Saturday morning TV vlog on Bump in the Night. which was another cartoon E.G. Daily lent her voice to. So if you like this, check out some of these other two films that Tim Burton did. In the upper left-hand corner is my re-review of Beetlejuice from 1988. The upper right-hand corner is my spoiler-free review of its surprise sequel from last year in 2024, Beetlejuice. Or if you'd like, check out my Saturday morning TV log of Pee-wee's Playhouse in the bottom left-hand corner. In the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe if you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc. Then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.